Hello, everybody. Welcome to this very last minute spontaneous Citrico Central live. I was not expecting uh, to go live. I'm just basically still here at Walt Disney World. Abby and I were chilling, watching some tube. Actually, I was little TMI. I was actually in the bathroom, doing my business, doing my thing, and uh, Abby calls me, and thank you to good friend of the channel, Miss Lene Ward, for sending the Disney Parks blog breaking news. Sends this to Abby. She calls me. I'm running out with my pants down by my ankles, waddling like a penguin to get all this news, and it was like, and it's like, what the hell, like. But it's so funny, and I want to bring up Giant Peter show because he said it best here. I guess so. Like literally, on Citrico Central, I did a live earlier today, walking around Animal Kingdom. We were kind of talking about like with with Pandora, the transitioning inside Animal Kingdom and what have you. And sure enough, just like moments ago, Disney broke the news on a Thursday evening. Some crucial details on Coco, Avatar, and even the Eastern Gateway, because of where Avatar is going. Basically, the Eastern Gateway goes hand in hand, and so apparently to kind of catch everybody up, that Avatar is officially announced to be used for part. Now, listen to that word. It's a small word, but a big meaning. Part of Hollywoodland, which is basically the backlot area that's going to run into the bus load unload area, which that's what we all were kind of anticipating. It was either going to be that or the Symbolot. Of why they took this long to make that announcements when we kind of already knew that anyway. I was expecting some sort of like out of range, unpredictable location, of where this was going. But I digress. The fact that we got news of where this is going is great. They didn't really make an initial announcement of when construction is going to start. However, there was a piece of information in that Disney Parks blog that kind of can give you a gist possibly of when that Monsters Inc. Mike and Sully to the Rescue is going to be closing for good early 2026. Now, if I know Disney, and especially along with the criticisms that they've been getting these past several years, they're not just going to close a ride right away and not do anything. They're definitely, I think that they're closing it for the purpose of starting very soon. So it may not be right there and then, but I have a feeling that it'll be close within the early range of 2026. But also, too, they have to get the Eastern Gateway going as well, because they can't touch the bus load unload area until they get the Eastern Gateway going. So that's why I'm kind of thinking that they may just be doing this all at once simultaneously, and they're just going to there's going to be construction walls and dirt flying and massive machinery going everywhere. And enough talking about my ex's bedroom, but let's get back to the Disneyland details. But in any case, yeah, I do feel like that they are going to be starting everything soon. And then also with Coco, that one had an idea, but kind of surprised me that it's going in between Pixar Pier and the Paradise Gardens. We were kind of under the assumption that it was going to either go behind the Incredicoaster on the pier, or it was going to replace the entire Paradise Gardens anyway, removing the Golden Zephyr, Jumpin' Jellyfish, Goofy Sky School. But apparently it's going in between them, but it's going into the backstage area. And it's going to cover all the backstage area, which actually I'm really glad on that, because that way it's not removing anything. It's not replacing anything. And where you kind of can see where the piece of concept art is, it's right where you see like those giant doors that says Pixar Pier, where the parade floats go in and out of. I feel like that's where the entranceway to Coco is. But then I started questioning the fact of, well, wasn't that going to be like the bridge that's going to connect for future expansion for DCA? And I thought, well, how are they going to do that? Well, basically, the Coco attraction does it for them, because I feel like Coco will be the parallel between both sides. And Abby also reminded me to the fact of it would work well with the storytelling, because right off of Coco, when you go into the expanded area for Simba Lot, there's the Pixar Place Hotel. So it fits very well with the overall theme. Now, I know that we were discussing too that Avatar was going to go in the Pixar, in the Simba Lot, but apparently now that it's not, questioning of like, well, then what can they use the Simba Lot? And it does make sense that they would want to utilize as much footprint of DCA as possible before going into uncharted territory. Because then that allows them to wait out to see what other new stories and franchises and IPs and characters to use. I think in time, because Josh D'Amaro mentioned this several weeks ago, and also it was mentioned even before Disneyland Forward got approved, I think part of the Simba Lot is going to be home to Wakanda. And I know a lot of people would say, well, it's not really connected to Avengers Campus. How could that? But I feel like with Wakanda, it's a separate realm of its own where you can kind of segue away from the campus. Because also in that piece of concept art, you kind of see like that panther head in there. And I know that it's hearsay, you take that concept art with a grain of salt, but I still think that they have that in mind, because Wakanda, the word Wakanda keeps on getting thrown around. And I know I just spewed all that to you guys at once. I do apologize. Let me get to some of the chat here. Let's see. We have Jacob Weller in the house. Let's see. We got Lucas and Disney. Lucas, what resort is this? And Abby answered that. Yeah, we're at the All-Star Movies. Oh my Lord, he was in the bathroom. Yes, apparently, like, it was completely random, like a Thursday evening, like around 7-ish California time, 10-ish, Eastern time, and Disney drops this, and I'm like, yeah, I'm in the hotel room in the bathroom, and that's when all the news explodes. No pun intended. Let's see. I should have asked me to help you both book for Animal Kingdom Lodge. Well, that's very nice, Lucas. I do appreciate it. We eventually we would like to. I would always love to. I visited Animal Kingdom Lodge several times, but I never stayed there. Eventually I will. But this was like, just like this live, us staying here for 3 more nights was spontaneous. I literally booked it like right, instantly getting off the cruise ship. But definitely, and if I whenever we do get the chance to stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge, I'll definitely reach out to you. Thank you so much. We got Junior Bo in the house. It was funny because OG was saying yesterday that Disneyland isn't getting movement. Yeah, and what's actually even funnier is I was telling him that, watch, when I'm on the cruise, they're going to make this announcement. Well, apparently when I was on the cruise, they made all the announcements for the Cars area down in Magic Kingdom. But several days later, me being off the cruise, they didn't announce it me being on a cruise. They announced me being in the John. So funny how things work. We got Shane Narani. Well, at least it didn't happen while you were on the ship. Exactly. Yes. Thank you, Shane. Definitely. Very true. And then, yeah, Abby says we were afraid it was going to be announced while we were on the ship. Yeah, I literally thought I was going to step off the ship, and all the news that just dropped right now, that's what I'd be going back on. It's like, oh man, I missed the good stuff. I missed the party, so. And then we got Vegas, Disney, RTV, crazy news drop. Absolutely. Let's see, Lucas and Disney. Funny thing is, I originally booked for George and OG and you in case if you three were coming for Destination D23, but I canceled after y'all said you couldn't make it. Again, Lucas, thank you so much. We really appreciate it, and as I said, and for what you've done for me and OG for D23, as I said, we will forever be in your debt. But that was very sweet of you for booking that. But as I said, next time for sure, I will definitely try to make for the next Destination D23. And guaranteed fact, with your help, of course, to be able to go to the next D23 fan event. Because as I said, you're the GOAT when it comes to getting those tickets. I don't know how you do it, but you got the magic touch. Giant Peter show. At least George was on land. Yes. But even at times I could feel like, and even Abby, like we feel like we're still kind of like rocking on the ship. Let's see. Remy D, what's the breaking news? Yeah, so if you go on the Disney Parks blog, Remy D, they announced some further information about Coco, Avatar at both of them at DCA, and also the Eastern Gateway project. And Jacob Weller says next year then for D23. Yes, absolutely. We are going to do our best and make it our business to be there. And as I said, with Lucas's help, because I am a nervous wreck with all that stuff, it just like frazzles me. And as I said, and the way that those computer systems that D23 has are a nightmare. Jacob Weller says Avatar 3 trailers got to drop soon then. That's actually a good point too, because I mean, they did mention at D23 that with this particular land of Pandora, it's not just going to be about the Way of Water, but it's also going to be about Fire and Ash and even the sequels after that. So yeah, I think yeah, the Fire and Ash one should be coming out fairly soon. But I think it's also funny too, again, like the timing of everything. I feel like Josh D'Amaro is saving pieces of information and like just pin dropping them when he needs to, because again, he's in the race for CEO and he's going to want to make a great impression, you know, when he needs to. So if he drops all the information at once, it's, you know, he doesn't really have a lot to kind of play with, so to speak, when he needs to. He's keeping that that information in his back pocket when he needs to, for sure. And this is one of them. Let's see. Shane Narani, it is strange that it dropped so late in the day. Yeah, again, like I think nobody was expecting this. Like everybody in the social media world, like literally, Mondo from Five Fires, Jack from DSMY, like everybody is like posting and going live. And I thought, you know, I should do like a spontaneous live and like get this information out on Citrico Central. Also too, I will, this is probably going to be like an hour or so live, if even, because I'm going to be heading over on Orange Grove 55. We got a members live, which we weren't anticipating on, you know, having this news, but we are going to have this news. So we'll have an in-depth conversation with me, Mr. Webba, OG, and also Candid Camper. So if you are a member of Orange Grove 55, definitely check out that live. If you're not a member, definitely consider it, because that's the kind of extra little gifts that we give you at Orange Grove 55. But until then, I decided to do a live right here on Citrico Central, breaking the news here also, because I'm also trying to grow out this channel to the best of my abilities, and I gotta keep up with that algorithm. Let's see. Remy D, I searched Disneyland news and all I saw was the derailment. Interesting. There was a...
Oh yeah, derailment of a Autotopia car. Autotopia car.
Oh, that's interesting. How in the world does an Autopia car get derailed? That's interesting. Okay. Um, yes, it's Florentin. Yes, announcements. And again, and thank you so much for it's Florentin that we were able to meet up briefly at Animal Kingdom. You were nice enough to come meet us, and we got to chat for a bit, and you got to be part of my Citrico Central Live. So thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you. Lucas and Disney, how many people did you see holding Switch 2 today at the parks? Actually, did you see a couple? Abby confirmed she saw a couple with the Switch 2. So that's interesting too. So that's also Damaro's plan. It's like Nintendo released the Switch 2, and he's like, okay, I got to bring out the big guns. Let's see here. Junior Bo, we need you to go on another cruise. Yeah, apparently, because when I go on a cruise, either if I'm on and off, they're breaking the news like hotcakes. Plus, I'm always done for another Disney cruise. Just saying. I guarantee you, folks, anyone can invite me on a Disney cruise and say, "Would you like to join? Would you like to join us?" I literally will drop everything of what I'm doing and start planning. I will never turn down a Disney cruise. Never. Abby learned that, and she used that to her ability. Let's see. These announcements just came in time in your room at Walt Disney World. Yes, and what a great way, too, of breaking this news. I know this is for Disneyland, but it's still part of the Walt Disney Company and the Disney family, and it's all in one. So the fact that I'm dropping Disney Parks news while I'm at Walt Disney World is like chef's kiss, cherry on top. We got Dragon Blood in the house. What's up, Dragon Blood? That's an epic cover image. Yes, absolutely. Let's see. Abby says, according to Boardwalk Times, there was a community meeting in Anaheim tonight, so the announcements occurred. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see. It's what we needed at D23 to know personally, better late than never. Absolutely. I mean, it was frustrating to the fact of why they waited this long to tell us what we already knew, but hey, we'll take it. Let's see. Giant Peter Show. Hopefully Citrico Central gets to go to the opening of all these attractions. I will do my damnedest to be there for opening day. I know I said that for Epic Universe, but apparently because with all the media events and the soft openings and the annual pass and the team member previews, it ended up not being like opening day at all. But I digress. Who knows? Maybe in time, maybe I'll be able to get a media pass. Not sure. Would love to, or maybe get invited by a cast member for like cast member previews. That would be awesome. Yeah, so I'm just kind of like throwing myself out there, throwing the Citrico Central brand. Hopefully, some nibbles get onto that fish hook and just reel it in. Shane Narani, the Autopia car probably heard the Disneyland news and fell over. Probably. It probably thought it was going to be like on the chopping block, because I think in time, Autopia is going to be, I mean, that thing is massive. It's like 2 different tracks. It takes up a piece of huge real estate that literally it could be a mini land within itself, just within that one attraction. That's not counting the motorboat cruise area. That's not counting the subs. That's there's like just like so much over there that they can like do with. And we have Disneyland Lyrics in the house. So question, while construction is happening at the Esplanade next year, will people get dropped off, for example, ride shares, taxis, etc.? So to my knowledge, when they start the construction, all that goes away to a different location, because where the drop-off area is basically almost like right next door to where the backlot area is of DCA. I mean, I know that the back part where like Mike and Solly to the rescue, it leads into the bus load unload area, but the side portion still runs into that. And essentially the entranceway is not good. It's going to still be the entranceway, but it's not going to just be the simple drop off walk into that area, because that's going to take place where Pandora is going to be. So there's going to be the piece of concept art. There is a the walking bridge that, when you look at it, it's actually high above the monorail. It surpasses the monorail beams, which that's how high up this is going to be. And it's basically going to weave you in. So you're kind of going over, I'm assuming, Pandora, and there's going to be a separate entranceway into there. But as far as I know, Disneyland Lyrics, I think the original ride drop off is going to change to a different location. Also, I do believe the security checkpoints will as well. Giant Peter show. So if we send George on 5 Disney cruises, we will see the full Disneyland forward vision. You know what? I'd be willing to take that bet. You won't have to tie my hands here. If someone wants to send me on 5 back-to-back Disney cruises, I'd welcome it. This past cruise just marked my 10th one, so the next Disney cruise that I take, I will officially be platinum. So I'm looking to be, trying to move forward to get to Pearl. So hopefully I can be able to do that. Junior Bo, now that you're here, what do you think about the Cars Land news? Oh, okay, yeah, I guess we could dive into that a little bit too. So here's the thing. Abby and I kind of dived into this a little bit on the previous live, but we didn't really like fully get into it. I personally don't have an issue with the Cars area. I never really did. I'm glad that it's something different and separate than what the Cars Land is out at DCA. I love the new piece of concept art because it kind of gives off with the Piston Peak area, kind of like Grizzly Peak over at DCA. And I love that wilderness kind of, nature, organic kind of feel. And from what Disney said is that it's not going to be kind of like in your face where you can kind of see it beyond the castle or what have you. So it's going to be like kind of quaint, but also within that concept art, it fits so well with Big Thunder and Tiana's Bayou Adventure. It just weaves in so perfectly. They didn't really make the announcement like of what the actual attraction is, but I think it's going to be called Cars Race Rally or something like that. And they didn't make the announcement of what the second attraction is. It's probably going to be something like Luigi's or Mater's. I don't really have any close tie-ins to the Tom Sawyer Island or the Rivers of America at Magic Kingdom. I really don't. I didn't really have any. I do think it's pretty, but I also think that they can make that Cars area pretty as well. And Slimer mentioned on social media that a portion of that land with kind of like the spinning boulder rocks, that it kind of pays tribute to Nature's Wonderland at Disneyland. So I thought that was really cool. But I also mentioned this on the previous live that it makes me wonder, because with the changes now we're finding out with DCA, and Avatar is officially going into part of Hollywoodland, what is that going to become for the identity of DCA? And they're leaning more towards, heavy like IPs and what have you. What is that going to mean for Grizzly Peak? And a lot of people were thinking, okay, well, is Avatar going to go in Grizzly Peak? But it's too landlocked to where the location is, and it also kills the theme for the Grand Californian. But does it kill the Grand Californian with that area if they were to incorporate a West Coast version of the East Coast Cars area that's going in the rivers of America. You still have that wilderness look to it. You could still keep Grizzly River Run, but it won't be Grizzly. You can change the bear into something of Cars, and then the rafts can be giant tires. I do believe it was Giant Peter's show that mentioned Luigi's Casadea floating tires. Try saying that 3 times fast, which I thought was really cool. But all in all, Junior Bo, I really think that this is going to be a great addition to Magic Kingdom. I feel like it's going to give the Magic Kingdom its own identity. As OG always says, when he first went there, it kind of felt like Disneyland Light. It felt like the live action version of Disneyland. And until you actually go to Disneyland, you really don't see it. But, you know, when you do and you go back, it's like Magic Kingdom needs some help. And I think that's one of the best things for it, to be honest with you. Let's see. Remy D, based on the rendering for Harbor Boulevard Bridge into Disneyland, the bus lanes may be reduced in size for Avatar. Yeah, I'm curious about that too. So are they still keeping the buses in that vicinity, or are they going to move them away somewhere entirely? And that's also, you know, speaking to what we were talking about for the taxis or the Ubers, the lifts, the drop-offs, like, is it still going to be in that area? Like, I know that's probably going to be removed, but is it going to be on a complete opposite end of the resort? They still didn't answer any of that, you know, in depth, but I'm for sure, again, Josh is keeping it in his back pocket. When he's ready to make that announcement after Dana makes another move, he'll make a move. That's probably when we'll know, folks.
Disneyland Resort.
That's what's that?
The east side of Disneyland Resort, the Manchester cast member parking lot will become a 6,000 parking spaces, shuttle, and rideshare area.
Okay, did everybody hear that?
On Manchester cast member parking lot.
Okay, on Manchester cast member parking lot.
Will be the new.
That's going to be the new area for the buses and drop off.
Rideshare area.
Oh, rideshare. So that's going to be everything. Okay, so they did make that announcement. Okay, I didn't get to really fully read the article. There's a lot in there. I was just kind of reading the gist, but okay, that's good to know. Let's see. It's Florentin. It was my pleasure, George. So honored for a second opportunity. Orange Grove 55 fam, thank you. You and Abby. Absolutely. As I said, it was great meeting up with you. But that's what I was saying. That makes me wonder if that's when Josh will make a park announcement. When Dana Walden makes a move that has to do with business or corporate or something of the studio or something, a couple days after, he'll make the move. Again, these two are like going neck and neck for it. Exactly. Abby said it's like a chess game. It's like, who's going to knock out the next pawn? Let's see. Lucas and Disney. Once George goes to every Disney cruise, he may be invited by Josh tomorrow for Disneyland Forward Ribbon grand opening event, but he'll be at the cruise. Exactly. Yeah, I'll get invited and I'll be on a cruise. Jacob Weller. It's my dream one day to go on my first Disney cruise. Absolutely, Jacob. If you have that opportunity, go for it, man. I can't stress enough to encourage people to go on a Disney cruise. It'll change your life. It literally will. You'll get bit by the Disney cruise bug. And once you do one, you'll want to do more. And it's like, whether you have a family, if you have kids, if you're solo, if you're a couple, there's something for everybody to have an excuse to go on a Disney cruise. And it's not just me being biased against, it's not me being biased for Disney. It's just the fact of the difference really is Disney. And it's like, you get that Disney difference and the impeccable service and the signature cast members and what have you. And it's not like all Disney, like where it's like in your face. Like if you want it to be, it can be, but it could be very subtle and elegant and, you know, it's there, but it's not like screaming in your face. Dragon Blood. Also, the fact that Fallout got announced for HHN today, too. What a great day. That is true, too. Universal dropped some some heavy news for HHN. So it's like, I guess maybe also Disney's like, okay, let them have a few hours, let them have their moment, but then mic drop. And Abby says, yeah, Jacob Weller, you will love the Disney cruise. Absolutely. Let's see. Vegas Disney RTV. I think there was something happening at the Hyperion today also. Someone was live and lots of people with badges walking around. Oh, that's interesting. I'm also very curious, like, what is to become of the Hyperion, because they didn't mention anything, and I thought for sure that might have been part of the Avatar change if Avatar was going in Hollywoodland, which it is. But I'm very curious of what is to become of the Hyperion. Now, of course, it still could be on the chopping block, but Disney may not be announcing that right away because they know how people are up in arms with that kind of stuff, especially for the Hyperion. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the theater. It takes me back to going to see Aladdin and Frozen and even Rogers the musical. But as of right now, it's stagnant. They're not doing anything with it. And it's just, it's a beautiful theater, but if you're not going to do anything with it, it's waste of space. If they don't touch the Hyperion for Avatar, I have a feeling that it'll be reserved for Marvel, because now that really shows that the red car trolley was removed for Marvel. It couldn't be for Avatar because apparently they're still keeping the Hollywood strip, is what I call. But they had to remove the red car trolley for Marvel, and I think also the Hyperion is going to be part of that, because the MCU is so big, they can't just end it with Infinity Defense and Stark Flight Lab, especially now with Thunderbolts that just got released. It's setting the stage for Fantastic Four, which essentially is going to lead into Doomsday and Secret Wars, which then is going to lead into X-Men. There's like so much on the horizon that there's no way that they'd just end it right there. And that also was a conversation I was having with Mr. Theme Park Conductor on the phone earlier, that being that Avatar isn't, going into the Simba lot, that's why I think Wakanda could potentially be going into the Simba lot later on. Let's see, Junior Bo. If they're releasing all these news now, what are they going to get at Destination D23? Maybe some more rides or lands. Ooh, very good question. That is very good. Yeah, because I thought literally what they were going to announce tonight was going to be for Destination D23. But the fact that they're not, maybe this news sets the stage for extra news at Destination D23. For instance, we still don't know the name of the ride for Coco. We don't know the name of the ride for Avatar. Is there only going to be one Avatar attraction? Normally with a land, they usually have 2 or 3, but they only announced 1. Is there going to be a second? Is there going to be a third? We may get more details of construction dates, opening dates, and maybe even some news that's kind of like out of left field, maybe something that we weren't expecting at all. Especially because with Destination D23, they're putting it in, why am I drawing a blank? The hotel, Coronado. They're putting it in Disney's Coronado, which their area space is much bigger than the Fantasia Ballroom over at the Contemporary. So it's more room. It can hold more people. They're saying this is going to be the biggest Destination D23 yet. So, and again, Josh is going to hold to his words and not mince them, especially now with it being, the rat race to to being the CEO. It basically is, and I say rat race because of anyone who have seen the movie Rat Race, also based off of it's a mad world where everyone is like going for that suitcase that supposedly has like all money in it, and everyone's just going for that one thing. That's what I feel like the CEO race is for, between DeMauro and Walden. Lucas and Disney addressing Junior Bo. Villains Land details in Animal Kingdom, Tropical Americas, and Abu Dhabi Disneyland details, etc. Yeah, I could see that. I could see more info on Cars as well, and all the stuff that Lucas had mentioned. Oh, and Monsters, Inc., of course. It's Florentin. Abby, we just spoke about big announcements not moving for the West Coast, and looky, here it flies at you. That is so true. And Abby confirms, yeah, they were just talking about it today. Let's see. Dragon Blood. Imagine the Cars River Run. You randomly see a tire floating in the air. And they're going to have to keep, one way or the other, like whatever they do eventually with Grizzly River Run, they have to keep it a rapids ride, because Disney needs more water rides. They don't have enough, especially like in both California and Florida, like two of the hottest states, you know, especially in the summertime. Crazy. That's why Disney is always surprising. You just don't know what to expect. Absolutely true. Remy D, can't wait to see what juicy controversy the grifters can conjure about this Disneyland news. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. That'll be interesting. Let's see. Dragon Blood. How do you feel about Coco technically going behind the pier? So I'm glad it's not like going behind the Incredicoaster like we thought it was going to be, like shoved in that little nook and cranny. I don't, based on the little piece of concept art, it looks like there is going to be some sort of outdoor queue or maybe a little mini Mexican village. I kind of hope that's the case. But you can see in the piece of concept art that the Incredicoaster is literally right next to it. I don't know how I feel about that, because when you hear people screaming on the Incredicoaster and you're hearing like the track rattling as the vehicle is passing really fast, is that going to take away the immersion of going into this like little Mexican area? I don't know how quite that'll look, unless in the piece of concept art, we just take it with a grain of salt that maybe they just place the Incredicoaster there just so you can see the direction and area that they're going for. It may not be like right next to it, because it's saying it's going to be all backstage area and it's going to be in between the pier and Paradise Gardens. So hopefully it gets its own little sanctum, so to speak. See, Lucas and Disney, but George, the insider, said the chances of Josh being CEO right now is 80 to 90%, where he's being highly considered. I mean, that is true. Yes, I did see that article. I'm not counting out Dana just yet, but I mean, Josh is putting the pedal to the metal, no pun intended. I mean, he's going all out for this stuff. So if he really wants it, you never really know. Just hopefully he keeps his word and he keeps moving forward if he does become CEO. That's my main concern. Dragon Blood. I want to know about the Cars ride that will catapult the kids outside Magic Kingdom. That's what I'm talking about. That is like the ride. It's like, I just say, like, forget this like kiddie crap. Like, if like when you want a kid to get to know something, it's like when you're teaching them how to swim. You just throw them in. You put some floaties on them. You throw them in. They bob up and down like an apple. They paddle like a dog. They learn how to swim. It's the same thing. You get them used to thrill rides, roller coasters. What do? You strap them in and you send them off. That's what I'm talking about. And we got Disney Guy in the house. What does this mean for the monorail and Avatar Land area? Very good question. I personally think what they're going to do is they're going to extend a lot of rock work around the land, where it's going to make way for a tunnel for the monorail to go through, where it'll already be through the tunnel by the time it reaches the actual land itself. So it's kind of seamless where you don't see or hear the monorail. That's my take on it, because I really don't think James Cameron is going to want the monorail being shown anywhere near Pandora, unless, I mean, if Disney really goes ballsy, that if they're going to have all this construction going on at once anyway with the Eastern Gateway and Avatar and Coco, they may just say, you know what, while we have this whole area done, let's close the monorail down and reroute the layout, because eventually they're going to have to do that with the monorail anyway, which OG calls the Spaghetti Bowl in Tomorrowland. You know, they're going to have to unkink that sooner or later if they're going to want to utilize that space for any future development, whether it's for Fantasyland or Tomorrowland. They're going to have to do something with the monorail in general. So this can kind of be like a little tester, you know, because even the Walt Disney World train is basically just going to be a shuttle loop back and forth between Main Street and Tomorrowland. It's not even going to go around its full circle into Frontierland while they're working on Cars and Villains. So very, very good question, Disney guy. I'm curious about that myself. Junior Bo, Josh is going to announce a 5th park for Walt Disney World and a 3rd park for Disneyland at Destination D23, and that's going to cement him as a new CEO. I think, honestly, I think big news like that they would save for the big Destination D. I don't think they would announce that at Destination D23. A 5th gate at Walt Disney World, I feel like they're not ready for that yet. They got to work on the 4 parks already. A 3rd park for Disneyland, I would say, is highly likely, but I think that's going to lead more further down for Disneyland Forward, that eventually expanding DCA, expanding Disneyland, adding the Eastern Gateway, changing up Downtown Disney, this is all going to eventually lead to a 3rd gate, which I really truly believe is going to be the Toy Story parking lot. And we got Cassandra Chamberlain in the house. Hi, everyone. Welcome in, Cassandra. Always great to see you. And then we have, let's see, Disney Guy. With all these announcements, is it safe to say that this is where the $1.9 billion is going towards Disneyland Forward? Yes, I do believe this does fall under the $1.9 billion. It's been so long since they had the Anaheim console meeting that, you know, Disney, you know, would have to spend a certain amount of money within a 10-year frame. Otherwise, they get they have to like pay a fee or a penalization or something. So yeah, I do believe that this is going to be the first wave of the first 5 years of the 10-year expansion project, if that makes sense. Cassandra, finally we get news. Surprised they released this news late in the evening. Yeah, Cassandra, it's so weird. Like, it's like a Thursday night, and as I said, we're at Walt Disney World chilling. I was in the John. The news drops. I'm waddling out like a penguin, like ready to hear the news. Like literally, that's what happened, Cassandra. I'm not kidding you. I'm not exaggerating. I was literally in the John when Abby calls me out and says, Lene sent me this news, and I'm like not trying to trip over myself. Abby says, yes, I agree. They wait until late in the evening to announce things. That seems to be the route that they've been going lately. They usually, like, I remember, like, when I would wake up, there would be news breaking like in the morning, but it's starting to seem like they're dropping stuff in the evening. Remy D, I think they meant to drop this on May 22nd, but they couldn't find the send button on time. It is very true. I mean, but I don't think it really would have. If they were going to drop something May 22nd, I think it would have been more for Walt Disney World. Just because, like, with Epic Universe, I think that would be more of a tie-in. I don't think it would have done anything with the announcement of, you know, Disneyland Forward, but you never know. You never know. but yeah, that it's very interesting to see the direction of where it's going. That literally Disneyland is not going to look like what we're used to seeing it. Like down to even the entranceway, the transportation, the expansion of DCA, it's going to look so different just with these few projects alone. Like, not to mention what the next 5 to 10 years is going to bring us. You know, it's wild. Let's see. Disney guy, with Coco ride going in the Paradise Gardens area, is it safe to say it will not be the scale of Pirates of the Caribbean and Haunted Mansion, and more like a Fantasyland dark ride? It's funny you asked that, Disney guy, because I was actually talking to OG and Ebba on the phone about this, and when OG saw the location of where Coco was, he started questioning that as well. Like the way Josh was mentioning this at D23, that it's to the same level of Pirates of the Caribbean and Haunted Mansion. Well, if you have a massive show building, is that going to be enough room? So your concern is exactly what his is. I hope so too. I mean, I hope it's not like reduced down to just like a simple Fantasyland dark ride. I mean, could have Josh meant that the quality of the audio animatronics would be up to Pirates of the Caribbean or Haunted Mansion? Not necessarily the scope of the building. I mean, that could be too, because Josh can kind of dabble with his words, where it can sound like something or it can mean something else, you know. Let's see. It's Florentin. That's true. Most big announcements used to come straight in the mornings. Yeah, I remember that all the time. And actually, not to change the subject, folks, but even right now, it feels like I'm on the cruise ship. Like, I feel like I'm still moving with the waves, moving with the ocean, motion of the ocean, which is normal. Like, it always happens every time it stays with you. I don't even know why that was just a completely random statement that I just mentioned, but oh well. Junior Bo, usually we start getting news on Tuesdays. This is surprising. Yeah, it's weird. It was on just like a random Thursday. It's like June 5th. Like, who knew? Let's see. We have Moustropolis in the house. Question: how do you derail an Autopia car? Yes, thank you. I asked that question when Abby told me, because Remy D was looking up like the Disney Parks blog, and they just mentioned that it brought up the derailment. I was like, what derailment? And Abby confirmed with me and said, oh, an Autopia car derailed. And I said, how do you derail an Autopia car? And I'm just curious, how did it derail? And then did it tip over? Did it go sideways? Did it flip? Like, what were they doing to this thing? But I don't know. Like, how do you derail an Autopia car? It's almost like the question that they asked in Alice in Wonderland. Why is a raven like a writing desk? See, Disney guy. Does this confirm Avatar Land will only have one attraction at the Hollywoodland area? Great question. Yeah, we touched upon this a little bit earlier, but as of right now, they only have one attraction. They only mentioned one, which is kind of odd, because usually with a brand new land, they have a minimum of 2 rides per land. The fact that they would be removing a ride, which is going to be Mike and Sully to the rescue, and just putting in a ride, so they're not really expanding. They're just basically replacing a ride with a ride. Now, if they add a second attraction, then they're expanding, which I think eventually they will. I think that's going to be the surprise announcement, either at Destination D23 or for the next D23 fan event in Anaheim, because I think they're going to have to put something else in there to kind of also flesh out the crowd a little more, because with one attraction and the first Avatar Land in California, and second one to the Pandora over at Animal Kingdom. Crowds are going to be like at the wazoo. See, Dragon Blood. The Autopia car was out of its piston. You didn't hear that? It wanted its new electricity. Probably. Wouldn't surprise me. Mostropolis. I thought Disneyland was going to construction at the big parking lot area near Downtown Disney. Well, I do know that they started already with the one parking lot. What is that Pumbaa? I think they started on that. So they said that they're going to go vertical with that, and then soon to be the expanded the parking garages, which would then lead to the walking path, over into Disneyland. As far as the big parking lot area near Downtown Disney, I mean, again, they may be doing all this all at once. I mean, if we go back to DCA 2.0, now I know this is a little bit more of a bigger scale, but they were doing they were doing Buena Vista Street and Cars Land all together. I mean, basically that park was like a labyrinth. It was just a sea of walls. And it was a nightmare to get, in and out. But I mean, people still went through it. It does make me wonder, like, if they're going to just kind of go balls to the wall, as I say, and just start all this like together. I mean, they already started for Avengers Campus. Obviously they started in the Pumbaa parking lot. They're going to be moving for Coco, because Josh D'Amaro mentioned that for 2026, and now the closing of Mike and Sully to the Rescue in 2026, the news dropping with Avatar. I can easily see them doing this all at once. It's ambitious, but I think Disney has the chops to pull it off for sure.
That's probably why they're doing the refurbishment for cars right now.
Oh, that's true. Abby just said she's wondering if that's why they're doing the refurbishment for Radiator Springs Racers right now, which would make sense, because that's odd too, because they've never done that big of a closure for Radiator Springs Racers. They've done small ones, but the fact that they're, adding new tech and LED lights and everything, they're trying to get that kind of spruced up to kind of weigh in, to offset everything else. And it's great to see for Radiator Springs Racers too, just in general, to get some love and some updates. It definitely needs it. But I'm curious to see how many people would actually be buying tickets to go to DCA, especially with Radiator Springs Racers being done. I think DCA for a while is going to be home to locals with Magic Keys, because I really don't think people are going to buy individual tickets for DCA anytime soon. That's just my opinion. Well, quack to you, Mr. Seymour Duck. Welcome in. Let's see here. Mostropolis. Also, don't forget HHN tickets on sale too. Yes, that also did probably play a factor in that too. What's next? Oogie Boogie tickets? I sure hope so. Well, I was just talking to Abby about that earlier. It's like, when are they announcing? Like, they already mentioned Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party down here at Walt Disney World. HHN, where's the Oogie Boogie tickets? We don't even know if we're getting any new villains. They usually drop those too. Cassandra, I'm glad I have enough time to ride Monsters, Inc. one last time. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad they gave enough ample time to let people know that if they want to get their last ride in. I sure will. I actually enjoy that ride. I think it's a cute, dark ride. I think it did its duty, its time, especially for what it replaced. Superstar Limo. I'm sorry, the best ride Disney ever produced. But, it is what it is. Dragon Blood. I really think they can do Avengers, Eastern Gateway, Coco, and Pandora at the same time. While Disney World's literally going to have Tropical Americas, monsters, cars, and villains construct together. Yes, that is very true. The only thing that kind of separates that a little bit, Dragon Blood, is these projects are very spaced out. Disneyland only has a certain amount of land that they can utilize. So when you construct everything at once, it's kind of bottlenecked. Now, as I said, that's the only obstacle and challenge that they have. But can they do it? Absolutely. I have faith in them. Just it takes a little faith, trust, and pixie dust. Disney Guy says Avatar, Avengers, and Cars all on the east side of the park. This means Coco must be to the scale of Pirates of the Caribbean or Haunted Mansion, or foot traffic will be insane. I absolutely agree. I do agree. Remy D. Cars Land and Magic Kingdom also explains why Big Thunder is going to be closed for refurb around the same time. They probably needed to do work to integrate Big Thunder with Piston Peak. Absolutely, yes. I agree with that as well. They wanted to update Big Thunder for quite some time as well anyway, so they probably thought kill two birds with one stone. They get to update Magic Kingdom's Big Thunder, and then also it kind of gives time to work around it to be ready for Cars and Villains. Dragon Blood, I know when I go, I'll be in Wall City inside DCA. Yeah, I think we all will be for a while. And let's see, Mousestropolis, all of the streamers and vloggers will be at the last day of Monsters, just like Splash Mountain. Absolutely, yeah. For even as simple of a ride as Monsters, Inc., Mike and Sully to the Rescue is, everyone will be there the last day, and I'm for sure everyone's going to try to get that very last ride around, because despite of how people felt about Superstar Limo, it's still the building that was utilized for when the park opened with DCA 1.0. So the fact that that building is going to get removed, and the Soundstage 17 and was it Soundstage 28, I believe, that so they're going to just remove it all. You know, it's going to be all Pandora. And we got Maybe in the house. Is this the pregame for OG55 members live tonight? Yeah, basically, this is literally my spontaneous live for Citrico Central. But yeah, actually, in a few minutes, I have to head over for the members live. And again, whoever is a member of Orange Grove 55, please, you're welcome to join in. We're going to have all this in-depth conversation with me, Candid Camper, Ebba, and OG. As I said, if you're not a member, definitely take into consideration on becoming one. You won't regret it. There's tons of extras that we throw in there, and you'll definitely enjoy it. Let's see, Dragon Blood. With knowing where Pandora and Coco are going, what will happen to the parades in DCA? That's a big question, and that even goes into with Oogie Boogie Bash. I mean, are they going to do a parade? Is Oogie Boogie even going to stay in DCA? Are they going to move Halloween back to Disneyland? Or just not do a parade at all? Or do they reroute a parade? I'm for sure Disney will come up with something. I personally feel like that in time, they may even move the parade over to the expansion of the Simba lot. You never know. It's Florentin. Interesting, DCA is losing Monsters, Inc. when Walt Disney World is transitioning to Monsters, Inc. Very true. Very, very true. One is losing, one is gaining. Although I will say that roller coaster does look very impressive. I can't wait to experience that. Disney Guy, since Hollywoodland is so close to Tomorrowland, can they just demo both lands and start from scratch? I think, honestly, a lot of people would like that, but I don't think Disney is going to do that. But it's funny how close that Pandora is going to be back-to-back to Tomorrowland. That is very interesting. Spencer Shea fan, you at Pop Century? I am not, but I am at a value resort where we are at All-Star Movies Resort. I also have a feeling DCA Oogie Boogie Bash 2025 will be its last because of Pandora and Coco. That is very true, too. I mean, how can they really have a party and pay full premium price for those tickets when, I don't know, maybe they'll do a haunted maze. Yeah. But I do see your point, Dragonblood. That's a very good point. And Remy D, do you prefer the Wishes coldish modern decor or the Dream slash Magic's more classic gold style? I am all for like the Magic, the Wonder, the Dream, the Fantasy. I love that Art Deco kind of classic style. I'm not a fan of the decor and architecture of the Wish, unfortunately. I'm curious to see the Treasure and Destiny because they said that they kind of upped their game a little bit, but we'll see. Dragonblood, Chapek Haunted Maze. There you go. Now that's scary. Cassandra Chamberlain, I hope they bring it back to Disneyland. I think so. I think if they remove it from DCA entirely, then it'll definitely go over to Disneyland for sure. But in any case, folks, thank you so much for joining this spontaneous live. I enjoyed all your questions, the conversation. We're going to keep the party going. I'm leaving here. I'm going over to Orange Grove 55. You're all welcome to join. It's a members only live. So if you are a member, hop over there. If you're not, feel free to think about becoming a member and join in on the fun. But really quick, Mastropolis, will you get a ticket for DCA once the bulldozers and cranes come knock down the DCA Hollywood backlot building? Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if people are going to buy tickets. I think DCA is going to be for Magic Key Holder locals for the time being. I really do. And Dragonblood, good night to the non-members. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to head over there now. Thank you all so much. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell for Citrico Central. I'm going to be doing this kind of stuff. I'm going to try to keep that algorithm moving. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you. And hopefully I'll see you over on Orange Grove 55. And as I always say in Disney Italiano fashion, stay safe, stay healthy, stay Disney. Italiano